Hi and welcome. My name is John Nyaga, and I'm glad you could join me. I am a professional artist and also an art teacher, and today I have a very interesting tutorial for you. It is inspired by a drawing which was done by a pupil or a child in grade 4, and the image was shared with me by the child's teacher because the teacher could see that there was a problem, but she wasn't very sure. So she reached out to me and asked me to use the picture to do a tutorial which was likely going to help the child. So without further ado, let me minimize myself here and push myself to the corner so that we can see the image that we are talking about here. And there it is. That is the drawing which was done by the child in grade 4. Now, looking at the drawing, the teacher could see that something was wrong, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. I wonder if you can. So, before we go into identifying what the challenge could have been, let us look at what the child was able to achieve, because it's not all wrong. It's not like everything about it is wrong. One thing which the child was able to achieve here was the aspect of communication. Art is a tool or a medium we use to communicate, to pass a message. We use images to communicate, and we use images which others can identify. Now the question here is, can we identify the objects that the child has drawn? And I can say without any doubt that yes, we can identify a table and 3 bottles. So in that respect, we have to say congratulations to the young person who did this picture. You did a very nice job of creating something that we can identify. Now let's go into the challenge that the child was having, or what the child was trying to do. Very quickly, so that we understand the challenge. What kind of art are we looking at here? That is the first question. What kind of art are we looking at? The kind of art which is portrayed here is called two-dimensional art. In short, 2D. You might be familiar with that term, 2D. So when something is two-dimensional, what does it mean? It means that it has height and it also has width. So height and width are the 2 dimensions that are referred to when we talk about two-dimensional art. In other words, it is art which is done on a flat surface. And a good example is drawing, like the one we have here. Another good example of two-dimensional art is paintings or painting, like examples we have here in front of us. These are paintings I did some time ago. This one of the general is called Retired General Tangai. I did it in 2010, and as you can see, it has height, it also has width, so it is two-dimensional. This other one, this is the daughter of a colleague and friend of mine. I did this in 2011, and it also has height and width, so it is two-dimensional. These digital caricatures I did some while ago, they also have height and width. In other words, they are flat, even though you can see features on them. This other one, you can see features, you can see the hair and everything, the mouth and everything, but everything is on a flat surface. So it is two-dimensional. So those are examples of two-dimensional art. Now that takes us now to 3D. So when a work of art has 3 dimensions, so which are they? Which are those 3 dimensions? Now, the 3 dimensions of 3D art are height, width, and depth. Depth is the extra dimension that 3D art has. And so a very good example of 3D art is sculpture. And I have an example here on the screen. This is the statue of the founding father of the Republic of Kenya, the late President Jomo Kenyatta. And as you can see the 3 dimensions, that is height, width, and also depth. The part where the feet are resting appears to be going inwards into the picture, and that is now the aspect of depth. And in fact, if you go there where the sculpture is, You can even walk around it. So it is not flat like a painting. Right. Now that we understand all about two-dimensional art and three-dimensional art, we can now analyze the drawing which is in front of us and see and understand the challenge that this young artist was facing, what is missing from the drawing, and what the child or the teacher can do to overcome that challenge, how the teacher can help this child to overcome that challenge. And I want to start with a statement which goes like this: art imitates life. That is, in art, we try to portray things as we see them in reality, as we see them. Having said that, the challenge that this child was facing was how to bring out three-dimensional objects on a two-dimensional surface, and in particular, the third dimension of depth. How then do you achieve this? Now, you achieve this by following the guidelines or the rules of perspective drawing. Perspective drawing is the portrayal or the creation of an effect of depth on a flat surface. There are some steps you follow to create the effect or the illusion of depth. An illusion is something which appears to be there, but it's actually not there, like what magicians do. They do magic tricks or illusion. Now, artists are not magicians, but we also have to create illusions, because you cannot dig a hole, you cannot create a hole on the surface to show that something is going deep inside. I am going to show you a photograph which is going to illustrate this particular point. The image, as you can see, is of a nice and straight road, and it is clear to all of us that this road appears to be going far into the distance, directly away from us, yet this road is portrayed on a flat surface. So this effect has come out. It is an illusion, because if you touch the surface, you will not feel the depth. So this illusion or this effect has come out due to the fact that the sides of the road appear to be moving closer and closer together as you move further and further away into the distance. This is also brought out very clearly by the white lines, the two white lines on the road. The lines, each line becomes thinner and thinner, and then the two lines appear to move closer and closer together to a point where they appear to be meeting far into the distance. Now, going back to the statement that art imitates life and we portray things as we see them, this is the same idea we apply when we are drawing the table. We make the two edges of the table appear to be moving closer and closer together, and we are going to do that practically. I am going to demonstrate that practically using the image which is sitting in front of us. Now you can join me in this exercise as I take you step by step through the process of drawing a table with the effect of perspective or depth. Obviously, I am using a computer program, but suffice to say, you don't need a computer program or even a computer to engage in this exercise. Just use your regular drawing tools and materials. If you have a pencil and plain paper, well and good. If you don't have that, use any drawing tool like a pen or even ruled paper like this particular child did. So what I'm going to do now on my computer, I am going to reduce the opacity of the image. I'm going to make it look kind of transparent so that we can draw on top of it, and then I will lock that layer. Then I open a new layer. Opening a new layer in Photoshop is just like picking a fresh piece of paper and then placing it on top of another. So I have a layer here. So when I draw, I am not going to affect the drawing which is already there. Now, when you want to draw something in perspective, you start with the part which is nearest to you. We will understand that later on in a different lesson, where we shall be dealing with now perspective drawing as a topic. So we are going to start now with the edge of the table which is nearest to the viewer or nearest to us. And this is the edge, so we are going to start with a line here. I want to keep the same dimensions of the table that the child had drawn point. So we've drawn the edge which is nearest to us. Now we are going to draw the edge which is further away from us, the other side of the table, the side of the table which is far away from the viewer. Now, what we are going to do, instead of making it the same length as the edge which is near to us, we will make it appear shorter. We know the table is not shorter, but this is an illusion. To create the illusion of depth, we have to make the edge of the table which is further away shorter than the one which is near us, just like we saw with the photograph of the road. So our line will start somewhere there. Okay, our line will start somewhere there, and then it will also end before the other line which the child had done. So that is the trick. That is how you create the effect that the table is actually moving into the distance. And then we are going to join that end of the line with this other one, and then this end of the line with this other one. And there we have the top of the table, the tabletop, all right, in perspective. Now, a tabletop will have an edge, so we are going to create that edge by drawing a short line vertical like that, and then we draw another horizontal line parallel to the first one. There you go. And then another vertical line to close that edge. Another vertical line to close the edge. There we are. We have drawn a tabletop, all right? A tabletop in perspective. Now, let us go to the legs of the table. A vertical line and another vertical line, and then we close it at the bottom. If I'm moving too fast, please feel free to pause the video. And then we are going to draw now the right leg of the table. And I am not going to place it where the child had placed it, because I want to give some kind of balance or equilibrium between the legs of the table. So I want to give as much distance on the right as I did on the left, between the edge of the table and the leg itself. There, I'll click first and then drag to make a straight line. And then another line there. That appears to be a bit wider than the first leg. All right. There we are. And then we close the bottom and we have the tabletop and legs. Now, the part which is missing and which the child had also left out is a supporting frame. You know, when a table normally has legs and legs attached to the tabletop, remember we are drawing something as we see it. So normally that is what we see on a table. It has a frame on the side, on all the sides actually, to support the legs so that the table doesn't fall apart. And we'll achieve that by simply drawing a line across between the two legs. And there we are. We have drawn a table in perspective. We have drawn a table which has an effect of depth, all right? And to make the table look a bit more realistic, I am simply, on Photoshop, all you do is you click on the paint bucket, select a color, click on the bucket, and then click there and you have the color, all right? I'm going to select a darker blue for the sides of the table so that it looks different from the top. And there you have it. We have actually drawn a table which has a feeling or an effect of depth. We have simply used the same idea we saw on the road, where the two edges of the top of the table appear to be moving closer and closer as you move away. and that is how you draw a table in perspective. Now, one other aspect of perspective that the child had problems with was portraying parts of the table which would ordinarily be hidden away from our view. All right? So you can help, and here I am talking about these other legs, the legs of the table which are on the other side of the table. All right? This is how children see things, but you can help that child by explaining to him or her that some parts of an object can be blocked, or even whole objects can be blocked by others. And you can do that by showing this child an actual table, make the child stand on one side of the table, and then explain that he or she cannot see the other legs of that table because they are hidden by the top of the table. And that way the child will understand that the next time he or she draws, they don't have to bring out every part of that object. You can also show the child around the compound. If you're in a school setting or even at home, show the child the top of a tree which is sticking out from behind a house, and explain that you cannot now draw the whole tree because a big part of it is blocked by the house. And at that point, the child will understand the concept of overlapping. All right, that now brings us to the end of the lesson today. I do hope and believe that you were able to learn something from the presentation that I did today. I also do hope that the teacher who shared the drawing on which this lesson was based is now in a better position to assist the child to draw or to make a better drawing of the table. And so, Teacher Charity, please let us know in the comment section if you found this lesson useful. And if you are a teacher, just like Teacher Charity, and your pupils have drawn some things, or they've colored, or they've done some artworks, and you're not sure how to assist them, please feel free to share with me. I will leave my WhatsApp number and my email address in the video description. So please share with me. Also tell me what it is that you're struggling with in terms of art, and I will be on hand to assist. I will do the best I can to assist you with a lesson, through a lesson just like the one we had today. And if you're a parent and you have a child who loves drawing or who loves creating artworks, and you're not sure how to assist that child, feel free to share with me the artworks. And it's only through the artworks, it's only through seeing the child's work that I can come up with suggestions or ideas which can help the child to overcome the challenges and improve in their work. And if you're an artist out there at whatever level, and you're struggling with some aspects of art, you're probably doing paintings or artworks in general, and you're stuck, you don't feel like you're experiencing a growth, feel free to share your work with me and what challenges you feel you are having, because frankly speaking, I've been out there, I've been a teacher for a long time, and I have seen that there's very little information out there on art, regarding art and how one can improve. And finally, before I go, one thing I would like to say about today's lesson is that we did learn how to draw a table properly with the element of depth, or with the effect of 3 dimensions on a flat surface. However, what we did not learn was how to do it accurately. That would have been too much information in this lesson. So in the next lesson, we will learn how to draw the table, this time accurately, through what is known as drawing using 1-point perspective. There are different types of perspectives. There is 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and 3-point perspective. We will be learning about that in subsequent lessons. So if you do want to take what we learned today, or the skills you gained today, to the next level, make sure you join me in the next lesson, where we will look at how you can actually draw this table in 1-point perspective. And one final thing, you realize I did not mention the bottles which were placed on the table. Again, that was not by accident, it was by design. It would have been too much information for one lesson. There will be a separate lesson dealing with how to combine objects in one drawing, in what is known as spatial relations between objects. Spatial meaning occupying space. When things are occupying space within the same proximity. For instance, if this table was inside a room, how would you draw the table and the room harmoniously so that the table and the room are seen to be in harmony? And if you were to draw a chair, for instance, next to the table, or if you were to draw a shelf in that room, how do you now draw all of them? If as an artist, you don't have a formula that you can use to draw objects, because this is something I have done in work which is done by artists, where everything seems to be going in a different direction, it's because you probably don't have information regarding how to do that. We will be doing that in subsequent lessons. So thank you very much for accompanying me in this lesson. Once again, I do believe that you gained, and keep practicing. You can only get better in art through constant practice, and let's meet in the next lesson. Bye bye.